I too welcome the discussion. I think it is the case that we have a crisis in agriculture. It's real. It's real in terms of the impact on the environment, and it's real in terms of the livelihood of farmers. And it's real, I think, for the reason outlined by Deputy Niall Collins. I thought he made an interesting observation that years ago a discussion on farming would have the whole chamber full of deputies. Now they're not here. Why is that? It's because many of our small farmers have been driven to the wall. And farming families have had to pack up in essence because the big guy dominates and the numbers are down. So we do need to address a crisis. It is real, and we need to put measures in place. And in that sense, I'm very much welcome the discussion. But as Deputy Wallace said, there are many problems, if you like, and one of them is a crisis of overproduction. I mean, things are so ridiculous at the moment that we have so much stock piling up that the meat processors have said cold storage capacity in Ireland is critically short. We know, as other deputies have said, that if a hard Brexit happens, or actually any Brexit for that matter, our surplus of beef is going to increase. And it's literally crazy that we're talking about an industry with hundreds of thousands of tonnes of beef with nowhere to go. That's wrong on so many levels, and there's a couple of solutions to it. The first solution is obviously to produce less beef. Now, that is not anti-farmer. Actually, that's pro-humanity and pro-farmer, because it's not saying leave the farmers out into the wilderness. It's saying you've got to put alternatives in place that allow them secure their livelihood in a more sustainable way. And I actually have no problem with the Taoiseach's remarks about saying eat less beef. I'm a vegetarian. My daughter's a vegan. I'm seriously considering being a vegan. And there's loads of agricultural products that come from plants. It's not anti-farmer. We have to develop a better way of looking at things. It is a fact that agriculture accounts for a staggering 1/3 of Ireland's national greenhouse gas emissions. They're going up when they should be going down. And contrary to your statements, Minister, we're not the most carbon-efficient dairy producer in Europe. In fact, from the stats last year, we are one of the most carbon-intensive beef producers and the third most intensive in dairy producers. And as your colleague Minister for Climate Change has said, this could end up costing all of us $5.5 billion in fines by 2030 if the government doesn't take serious action. So that's in everybody's interest that we address this problem to support the livelihood of farmers. Another way in which it could deal with the overproduction is to assist farmers in opening up new markets. Now, we had this discussion yesterday in relation to the problems that are being experienced with a lucrative market that exists there in Iran, that is just crying out actually to get Irish beef because of all of the faults with the Iranian beef. You told us yesterday the market is open. But you seem to imply that the problem wasn't with the government, it was with the farmers. You said the market is open, but it has to be more rewarding. Now, obviously, selling to Iran, which is a very developed market, is much more rewarding than some of the carry-on that's going on here at the moment. But there are other factors at play here. And if the government was serious in assisting farmers in this, you know what the Iranians want, what they have from every other European country, which is selling massive amounts of their own agricultural products to the benefit of their farmers. They want an embassy on the ground, because having an embassy on the ground allows you to be much more in touch with what's going on there. And I think it's ludicrous that we would suggest that it's somehow the farmers' fault that the market isn't open enough, when the problems that are there with that market have been readily addressed in other areas, and other farmers in other states are benefiting very well for that. And I think we should be going the extra mile to ensure that our farmers are able to trade in that market. And to me, the onus is much more on the government than on the farmers themselves.
Okay, just to make it clear, rural independents have 7 minutes.